The NFL is stacked with talent, but only a handful of players are so elite they've practically redefined the game. These aren't just Pro Bowlers. These are the guys who make defensive coordinators lose sleep, who carry entire franchises, and who turn Sunday into a highlight reel. So here it is, every elite NFL player explained. Number 15, Tom Brady, the GOAT. Love him, hate him, or still filing Deflategate paperwork, Tom Brady is football's Thanos. Inevitable. Drafted 199th in 2000, he was supposed to be a forgettable backup until he wasn't. 7 Super Bowl rings, 3 MVPs, 5 Super Bowl MVPs, and the 2007 season with a then-record 50 touchdown passes turned Tom into a dynasty. Signature games, Super Bowl 36's last-minute drive to beat the Rams, Super Bowl 49's 4-touchdown comeback versus Seattle, and the 28-3 resurrection in Super Bowl 51, 466 yards that broke Atlanta's soul. In his 40s, he still led the NFL in passing yards and touchdowns in 2021. 5,316 yards, 43 touchdowns, then led in attempts and completions in 2022. Father Time needed overtime. Career line, 89,214 regular season passing yards, 649 touchdowns. Postseason records everywhere you look. New England or Tampa, he turned the league into his trophy case. And after the GOAT stacked rings with precision, the next legend set the standard for everyone who catches them. Number 14, Jerry Rice, the untouchable standard. If Brady is the GOAT, Jerry Rice is the measuring stick. Since the 80s, every receiver's been compared to him, and they all come up short. Career totals that look made up. 1,549 receptions, 22,895 yards, 197 receiving touchdowns. He dominated big days too. Super Bowl 23 MVP, 11 catches, 215 yards, touchdown, and Super Bowl 26, 7 for 148, 3 touchdowns. In the 1987 season, he scored 22 receiving touchdowns in 12 games. Rice wasn't the biggest or fastest, but his routes were surgical, his hands were glue, and his work ethic was folklore. Hill sprints that turned practice into punishment. 3 rings, 13 Pro Bowls, 10 first-team All-Pros, and production that spanned 3 decades. He didn't just win matchups. He erased corners' confidence. And while Rice sliced defenses with precision and discipline, the next legend brought a different kind of dominance. Fear, violence, and chaos off the edge. Number 13, Lawrence Taylor, the original defensive nightmare. Before Lawrence Taylor, quarterbacks had bad days. After Lawrence Taylor, quarterbacks had nightmares. Drafted in 1981, LT didn't just play linebacker. He reinvented the position. He came off the edge like a heat-seeking missile, racking up 132.5 sacks, 2 Super Bowl rings, an MVP, and the kind of highlight reel that still makes offensive linemen sweat in their sleep. Taylor was so disruptive that teams literally redesigned their blocking schemes. The concept of a left tackle protecting the blind side, born because LT kept wrecking quarterbacks for fun. His MVP season in 1986, yes, MVP as a defender, proved he wasn't just elite, he was terrifying. Even Hall of Fame quarterbacks admitted they counted where 56 was before every snap. Off the field, he was just as wild, living a rock star lifestyle that matched his chaos on Sundays. But between the whistles, he was untouchable. And if LT terrorized quarterbacks with fear, the next guy broke them down with ice-cold precision. Number 12, Joe Montana, Cool Joe. Some quarterbacks win games. Joe Montana wrote poetry in the fourth quarter. Nicknamed Joe Cool for his nerves of steel, Montana made clutch look effortless. 4 Super Bowls, 3 Super Bowl MVPs, and a career built on shredding defenses with calm precision. He didn't just win, he made it look like a Sunday stroll. Take Super Bowl 23. 2 minutes left, 92 yards to go, and instead of panicking, Montana points into the crowd and says, "Isn't that John Candy?" Then calmly marches downfield and wins the game. That's a hitman with a smile right there. Montana wasn't the flashiest, but his efficiency and accuracy turned the 49ers into the NFL's gold standard. To this day, when people talk about clutch quarterbacks, Montana's name comes up first. Montana mastered calm precision, but the next legend brought pure chaos, twisting, turning, and leaving defenders grasping at thin air. Number 11, Barry Sanders, the human joystick. If Joe Montana was ice in the veins, Barry Sanders was lightning in a bottle. Watching him run was like watching a video game glitch in real life. Defenders would dive, spin, collapse, and still whiff as Sanders juked him into early retirement. At just 5'8", he didn't look intimidating. But once the ball was in his hands, the entire defense suddenly looked like they were chasing a ghost. In 10 seasons with Detroit, he racked up over 15,000 rushing yards and an MVP trophy, all while playing for a franchise that gave him zero help. He collected 10 Pro Bowls, 10 All-Pro selections, and a reputation as the most elusive runner the league has ever seen. And then, in peak Barry fashion, he retired at his prime. Just walked away. No farewell tour, no warning. The NFL lost its most elusive magician overnight. Sanders embarrassed defenders with jukes that made them fall over their own feet. But the next guy embarrassed him by soaring right above their helmets, snatching footballs like they were his birthright. Number 10, Randy Moss. Straight cash, homie. If Barry Sanders made defenders miss, Randy Moss made them irrelevant. At 6'4" with sprinter speed, Moss turned the deep ball into a weekly highlight reel. Quarterbacks didn't even need accuracy. Just throw it up, and Moss would come down with it. His rookie season, 23 years old, 17 touchdowns, and defensive coordinators begging for early retirement. Mossed became a verb because of him. When you snag a ball over someone's head, you didn't just catch it, you mossed them. His career totals, 156 touchdowns, over 15,000 yards, 6 Pro Bowls, cemented him as one of the greatest receivers ever. And of course, his swagger was unmatched. Asked once about paying fines, he laughed and said, "Straight cash, homie. That's Moss in a nutshell." Dominant, brash, unforgettable. Moss embarrassed secondaries for fun, but the next guy tormented them with surgical precision from the pocket. Number 9, Peyton Manning, the Sheriff. If Randy Moss played the game like backyard chaos, Peyton Manning played it like a chess grandmaster. Dubbed the Sheriff, Manning ran offenses with so much control that half the time it looked like he was coaching from under center. Omaha, hurry-ups, audibles. Defenses never knew what was coming, but Peyton always did. 5 MVPs, the most in NFL history, 2 Super Bowl rings, and nearly every passing record by the time he retired. He wasn't mobile at all, but he didn't need to be. His brain was faster than any linebacker's legs. By the time the ball left his hands, defenders were already toast. Even his post-snap stare-downs were legendary. Manning didn't just beat you, he dissected you, exposing every weakness until there was nowhere left to hide. He turned regular season Sundays into clinics and the playoffs into masterclasses. And while Manning ruled the field with surgical precision, you won't believe what this next NFL elite player did. Number 8, Ray Lewis, the General. If Peyton Manning was the professor of football, Ray Lewis was the preacher, and his sermon was pain. The heart of the Baltimore Ravens defense for 17 seasons, Lewis wasn't just a linebacker. He was the engine, the voice, and the intimidation factor. His pregame dances alone could have drawn penalties for excessive energy. 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, Super Bowl MVP, and the leader of one of the most feared defenses ever in 2000. Lewis didn't just make tackles. He made statements. Quarterbacks checked where he was before every snap, because ignoring him meant a hospital visit. Running backs hated seeing him in the hole, and receivers thought twice about crossing the middle. Off the field, he gave motivational speeches like he was running for office. On the field, he made sure his opponents regretted showing up. If Lewis was the general of defense, the next guy was the gunslinger of offense, armed with a golden arm and a flair for miracles. Number 7, Aaron Rodgers, the Hail Mary King. So some quarterbacks throw deep balls. Aaron Rodgers throws prayers that actually get answered. Known as the Hail Mary King, Rodgers made impossible throws look routine. Whether it was against the Lions, Cardinals, or Giants, if there were zeros on the clock and the ball in his hand, defenses started sweating. 3-time MVP, Super Bowl champion, and owner of one of the prettiest passing motions in NFL history, Rodgers could flick his wrist and launch a 60-yard dime like it was nothing. His touchdown-to-interception ratio, historically ridiculous. Defenses didn't just have to beat him, they had to hope he had an off day, which rarely happened. Sure, his off-field quirks, darkness retreats, conspiracy chats, made headlines, but between the lines, he was magic. And if Rodgers specialized in miracles, the next guy was pure inevitability, the new face of football who made dynasties look easy. Number 6, Patrick Mahomes, the human cheat code. Patrick Mahomes isn't just a quarterback. He's the NFL's answer to a video game cheat code. Since taking over the Chiefs in 2018, he's turned broken plays into art, tossing no-look passes, sidearm lasers, and 40-yard bombs while falling sideways. Defenses do everything right, and Mahomes still pulls off the impossible. The resume: 3 Super Bowl wins, 2 MVPs, and playoff stats that already rival the all-time greats. And he's only in his late 20s. He's the reason Kansas City flipped from postseason chokers to dynasty territory almost overnight. The scariest part? He's never out of a game. Down double digits? No problem. 30 seconds left? Plenty of time. Mahomes has turned comebacks into his personal hobby. And while the highlights make it look like magic, the truth is his consistency is just as terrifying. He makes greatness look routine, week after week. And if this blew your mind, you won't believe what this next player did. Number 5, Aaron Donald, the monster in the trenches. If quarterbacks dream of Lombardis, they also have nightmares. And in those nightmares, Aaron Donald is chasing them. The Rams' defensive tackle wasn't just elite. He was unblockable. Double team him, he splits it. Triple team him, still finds a quarterback. Offensive linemen looked like traffic cones when Donald came charging. 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, Super Bowl champion, and owner of over 100 sacks from an interior position. That's absurd. His quickness off the snap made 300-pound linemen look like they were standing in cement. And his game-sealing pressure on Joe Burrow in Super Bowl 61, the moment that confirmed his legend. Donald wasn't flashy with trash talk. His dominance spoke for itself. He retired in 2024 as one of the greatest defenders in history, leaving a giant hole in every quarterback's nightmares. And if Donald crushed souls in the trenches, the next guy shredded defenses by freelancing through chaos. Number 4, Travis Kelce, the tight end rock star. Some tight ends block, some catch. Travis Kelce rewrote the job description: be everywhere, catch everything, and make it look fun. For nearly a decade, he's been Patrick Mahomes' favorite target and the NFL's ultimate mismatch. Linebackers are too slow, safeties too small. Kelce just carves them up like Sunday brisket, leaving defenders shaking their heads. 8 straight 1,000-yard seasons, multiple Super Bowl rings, and a postseason resume so ridiculous, he trails only Jerry Rice in playoff catches and yards. When Mahomes scrambles, Kelce doesn't run routes. He runs jazz, improvising, freelancing, and somehow always find an open space at the perfect time. And then there's the charisma. End zone dances, sideline swagger, press conference comedy, and yes, the Taylor Swift effect. He's become as much a pop culture headline as a football one. Kelce turned a niche position into rock star status, and defenses still don't have an answer. But you'd probably be surprised about this next player and how elite he really is. Number 3, Derrick Henry, the freight train. Most running backs rely on speed or agility. Derrick Henry relies on the fact that he's built like a Marvel character. At 6'3", 247 pounds, Henry doesn't just run past defenders. He runs through them, leaving stiff-arm victims immortalized in memes. Just ask Josh Norman, who got tossed like a rag doll in 2020. Henry's 2,027-yard season in 2020 proved he wasn't just size. He had stamina, vision, and the ability to break games wide open. He's led the league in rushing yards twice. rushing touchdowns twice. And when he hits the open field, defensive backs suddenly discover a deep interest in avoiding contact. Nicknamed King Henry, he turned Tennessee into a one-man highlight reel, dragging entire defenses with him. And when cold weather games hit late in the season, his power running wasn't just effective, it was cruel. Tackling him in December felt less like football and more like punishment. If Henry was football's runaway freight train, the next superstar is the flashy sports car, fast, stylish, and guaranteed to leave defenders grasping at air. Number 2, Justin Jefferson, the gritty king. If Derrick Henry is a freight train, Justin Jefferson is a sports car, fast, sleek, and built to humiliate defenders in style. Since bursting onto the scene in 2020, Jefferson has redefined what it means to be a young superstar wideout. In just his first 3 seasons, he piled up over 4,800 yards, more than any receiver in NFL history to start a career. But it's not just the numbers. Jefferson's catches are physics-defying. One-handers in double coverage, toe taps on the sideline, and that unforgettable snag against Buffalo in 2022 that made even OBJ nod in approval. And then there's the gritty. Every touchdown comes with his signature dance, and it's spread from locker rooms to playgrounds worldwide. Jefferson's flashy, dominant, and only getting better. Jefferson puts on a show, but the next guy ends it. Because once the cheetah hits full stride, the play is already history. Number 1, Tyreek Hill, the cheetah. There's fast, and then there's Tyreek Hill fast. Defensive backs don't really cover him. They chase shadows and pray the safety angle saves them. Nicknamed the cheetah, Hill routinely turns NFL fields into track meets, clocking over 22 miles per hour and making world-class athletes look like they're running through quicksand. His career has been one long highlight reel of deep bombs, busted coverage, and instant touchdowns. In Kansas City, he was Mahomes' turbo button, turning a 5-yard pass into a 70-yard score before you could blink. In Miami, he's become Tua Tagovailoa's ultimate cheat code, leading the league in receiving yards, yards after catch, and defensive coordinators losing sleep. What makes Hill terrifying is consistency. It doesn't matter if it's double coverage or press at the line. One misstep and he's gone. Entire defenses backpedal just because he's on the field. And when he throws up the peace sign mid-sprint, it's not a taunt, it's a spoiler alert. But here's the real question. If you could start a team with just one of these elite players, past or present, who you taking? Drop your pick in the comments.